Wikipedia defines Heaven's Gate as a new American religious movement, often described as a cult. Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles were sometimes referred to as Bo and Peep, T and O, or most often would just go by the two. Applewhite and Nettles met in the early 70s, while Nettles was working as a registered nurse at a hospital that Applewhite was being treated at following a public mental breakdown at an opera house, where he was performing at the time. The two seemed to share a longing for more out of their lives, while dreaming spiritually, for the ultimate answer to their intimate wish to enter the level above human. The two began posting flyers and holding meetings, commemorating their message. By the end of 1975, the two had developed over 200 followers. Most were younger, single kids trying to find their spiritual way in the world. However, the message hit some so hard that husbands, wives and parents left home, abandoning everything they knew, to undergo a variety of human metamorphosis, with each stage getting them closer to the level above human.
And that we might see you all again, and then we might not, but we hope that you remember us as we were, and not how other people are going to try and tell you that we are. And one last thing we'd like to say is 39 to beam up. Thank you.
The members of Heaven's Gate led very regimented lifestyles, with each and every aspect of their lives perfectly measured, from the amount they eat to the amount of toothpaste a member uses. Everyone was equal, and their lives were divided too accordingly. Members all wore short, above-the-ear, unisex haircuts, with an all-black, hooded uniform that sported the Heaven's Gate away team patch, and matching black running shoes. Members carried around music tuning forks to eliminate masculine voices, to aid in altering one's mind, thoughts, and voice to a more monotone sound. Members were divided into groups of two, whom were referred to check partners, that were platonic members of the opposite sex, who kept members in line with the very regimented ideologies of the Heaven's Gate cult, as well as reminding them of all they still needed to overcome on Earth, as they get closer to being one with the ultimate final level above human. The groups of two were to check in every 11 minutes, at staggering locations, to ensure they had no extra time to slip in any extracurricular activities that were not approved by the two. Members were cut off from all old friends and family, with some parents never hearing from their loved ones again, while other families were lucky enough to get one last call or letter from their family member. The group rented nice, affluent neighborhoods, allowing only specific people outside, so as not to draw attention to themselves, making it appear as if a regular, everyday family lived there, and it worked. Authorities were beginning to receive calls about their missing loved ones. Some families went as far as to hire private investigators to try and bring their loved ones back home. Not even the investigators were able to locate them. Carrying on such a reclusive lifestyle, where contact with the outside world was often prohibited, could pose issues on finances. Members found odd jobs in order to make ends meet. The group's main income came from website design. Some members stayed awake all night, on shifts, keeping their eyes on the nighttime sky, as that is when God was said to send messages. Round the clock, they would keep an eye out for the UFO that was to come pick them up. Members also studied astrology, played board and word games, as well as played along with game shows on television, in order to keep their minds sharp. With every single minute of their lives being on a time schedule, the group was able a few hours of leisure each week, where members would watch the latest weekly episode of Star Trek. Members also visited Las Vegas, as well as the beach, during outings. One of the group's major downfalls was that they believed they were operating on a clock, believing that, if they stayed here on Earth too long, they would fail recycling when the distraction of Earth happened, wiping them away with everything else, before they could exit. Fate threw a wrench into the two's ultimate exit plan, when in 1985, Bonnie Nettles passed away from cancer. This caused Nettles to exit her vehicle before the UFO could come pick up the group and its followers. The death of Nettles took years to move on from, and became a subtle, but important step, in the cult's ideology to a far-reaching depth, causing dangerous consequences. In March 1997, Comet Hale-Bopp was to cross the night sky, in a brilliant display that was going to light up the night sky. During the time of them learning of the approaching comet, November 15, 1996, an AM radio host, Art Bell, whom was a conspiracy theorist himself, and radio host for Coast to Coast AM, began reporting that a UFO had attached itself to the tail of the comet, following it to Earth. Applewhite took this as a sign. Finally, after 22 years, Applewhite had his answer. This was the comet coming to take the group home, to the higher level above human, the followers had been seeking. Spending most of their earnings on housing, the group decided that the current mansion they were renting would be the place the group would leave their containers. As they boarded the UFO, headed for the level above human, over a 2-day period, from March 22 to March 23, 1997, 39 members of the Heaven's Gate cult graduated to the level above human, as they died by suicide, from mixtures of phenobarbital, opiate, alcohol mixtures. The original news article reported the deceased as all men, largely based on the unisex haircuts and clothing. Upon closer inspection, authorities released the victims were in fact those who had dedicated over 20 years of their lives, following the two, on their journey. They had located the members of the Heaven's Gate cult. Many family members had to receive the information regarding their loved ones, either from local news sources and newspaper articles. This year marks the 25th year since the members of the group abandoned their earthly vehicles to achieve the level above human, leaving behind one of history's largest mass suicides in history. Heaven's Gate still has an active web page up and running. You can find a lot of information about the cult, along with its members. The site is still being ran by someone, as they still answer emails. If you are feeling brave, go take a look around the web page, read some of the members' eerie exit statements, or view member photos.